Okay, so let's jump to our discussion zone for today. And we've been talking COVID-19, but a bit of a, breakage. We had to jump into something else very important, like yesterday's inauguration. And today we have a new president in the United States. And we have an ex-president as well, immediate ex-president, Donald Trump. But that's not the conversation. We're looking at the distribution and accessibility of the COVID-19 vaccine. How is it going to be like? What are we looking at? Let's begin. Hafiz,
Barry.
let me start with you. Everybody is thinking about COVID-19 first foremost, and then I actually played this particular audio. It was actually a video that I was sent. Someone said they sent it to me, and I watched it. And there's this unit, the ICU unit in Egypt.
Okay.
Everyone died. Why? Short oxygen. Oxygen was short in supply, so everyone in that unit actually died. Everyone.
Wow.
We are faced with a big problem in front of us, and I think some of us still don't understand
That's
what
the
we're
thing.
looking at.
And when you put it to people, I mean, a lot of them still feel it's still not in my backyard. So, hey, business as usual.
Anyway, let's move on to another one, very important, the vaccine.
Yeah.
Today we're looking at the distribution and the accessibility of it.
Okay. Speaking of access and distribution,
right.
now when it comes to vaccines, we've seen countries try to go at it alone.
Right.
Now they just exited Trump administration, pulled out of the COVAX scheme. We saw Russia also do that. China.
You mean the U.S. pulled out of the
yes,
COVAX
the
scheme?
COVAX scheme.
Right.
Yes, we saw Russia also do that. There was even China that did that, but at some point around October last year, they decided to do a whole 360 on that decision. So they said they wanted to rejoin. But then, I mean, this whole idea of either staying or opting out of the COVAX scheme has brought up certain conversations.
Right.
What people have termed as vaccine nationalism.
Okay.
Essentially, this is just citizens of advanced countries calling first dibs on the vaccines.
Right.
Yes. They're saying they actually need special access. Now, there's a research conducted to that effect, done by the UN and the International Security and Development Center.
Okay.
Now, according to that research done, 46% of Americans actually believe they should have special access to vaccines.
Special access?
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, we should be treated, we should be first in the queue, basically, that's what they say.
Okay.
So they believe 46% of Americans actually believe that.
Okay.
Now, Finland and Portugal, they had recorded around 40% of their numbers
Okay.
that actually believe the same. But interestingly, with Germany, they were more egalitarian. That is, they were more open to the idea of the world, having an equal
distribution.
Access. Yes,
okay.
And about 69% of their population, according to this research,
Right.
were actually of that view. But then if you look at actually fighting it and eradicating it in itself,
Okay.
you can't concentrate on one side of the fight and then concentrate on certain countries to the detriment of other countries. Then what it does is it prolongs the fight against the pandemic on the whole. But then with the WHO leading the COVAX scheme, and they have actually come out with their own distribution formula. And I must say it's of miserly proportions. So yes, and so just to give you an idea or a breakdown. So the WHO wants to do it this way. They want to do it in tranches. So they're targeting at let's say the first batch.
Okay.
Yes, and they are targeting the 3% of a country's population.
Right.
So and in that 3%,
3%
just
of
3%.
a country's population.
So just take, say, our base Ghana, 3%.
Yeah.
And in that 3% in the first batch, they are looking at frontline workers, doctors. These are the people that are mostly very much at risk.
Whoa.
Yes. And in the second, they are looking at the general public, but then they are targeting just 20%, but then people that are of a higher risk.
Right.
Yes.
So we're looking at people with conditions. Is that what
exactly,
we're talking
maybe
about? Okay.
pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
So you definitely be on the priority list.
Okay.
Then in the last batch, still on the general public, but then they'll be prioritizing countries that probably have a hard time, controlling it. Maybe if your hospitals or clinics have been overrun,
Right.
then maybe you would be on the priority list. So this is largely just basically what the idea they want to use to actually put out in the distribution
Okay.
of the vaccines.
Right.
Now, now let's come back to Africa
Mm.
and the whole situation. Now, in fact, looking at the challenges of accessing or in the distribution chain, for me, I think Africa faces a number of challenges.
Right.
Yes. Firstly, we are looking at the financial bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here we are, a lot of countries are heavily reliant on the COVAX scheme.
Right.
Which is basically at the mercy of donor countries or donors.
So let me not cut you short. So the COVAX scheme is actually a global scheme to deliver COVID-19 vaccines to poorer countries that are actually facing very high risk of failure, potentially leaving billions of people with no access to vaccines until the late 2024.
Yes, it's actually backed by the World Health Organization.
Yeah, that's it's an initiative.
More than 150 countries.
Right.
Yes, so
172 countries, right.
Exactly. So I was talking about the challenges. Now, with Africa, that is, we have the financial challenges bit,
right,
where we are heavily reliant on the COVAX scheme. So what it means is that if the donations don't come in, or there's a problem at the World Health stage,
right,
then, I mean, we are in trouble.
We are
already in trouble.
Actually, we are. I mean, per what I saw in Egypt.
So this heavy reliance on the COVAX scheme actually puts the fight of COVID out of our hands. Yes. I mean, initially, what was the date? It was supposed to be the first quarter of
first quarter of the 2021. Yeah.
Now it has been shifted. This is not in our hands. We are just waiting and hoping that things actually, move according to the timetable. But till then, what exactly are we doing? Because of the financial situations, situation we'll find ourselves.
Right.
We aren't able to make certain decisions. Of course, a country like South Africa has gone ahead.
Yeah, they've already secured theirs.
Before they rely on
before
COVAX.
the COVAX thing.
For countries that are actually doing this, they have decided to engage in what's an agreement called the Advanced Market Commitment.
Okay.
Yes, they decided to strike out some of these deals immediately when Pfizer announced that their DS had a 95% success
efficacy.
rate.
Yeah.
They simply put out orders in some of these things, and these are countries that are well prepared.
Right.
Okay, so if you don't prepare, this is the situation you find yourself in. Yes. Now, another issue with regards to Africa is the issue of logistics. Now, so far there's Moderna, there's Pfizer, there's AstraZeneca, and all.
Yeah, Oxford. Yeah.
Yes. Now take the Moderna for instance. It has a lifespan of 6 months. The Moderna vaccine, a lifespan of 6 months.
So you take the vaccine.
No, that's the vaccine itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it has
6 months. After 6 months, it expires.
And it's supposed to be stored in temperatures of minus 20 degrees Celsius. You take Pfizer. It has a lifespan of 5 days.
5 days.
5 days. And
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days.
Five
okay.
Days. And it's stored in temperatures of minus 70.
70, yeah.
And with all these things, you would need certain specialized coolers.
Oh, yeah.
To store them in. It's not so common around these parts. Okay. And you would need these facilities to store them in.
Right.
Now, even according to the World Bank, when they did a survey on electricity and all that, they realized that in sub-Saharan Africa, about 48% of the population had access to electricity. So if you are going to have these vaccines out there, or that's
the distribution is going to be a problem.
So you probably would have to you just have to put some of these structures in place, because if you don't do that, you are looking at a lot of waste.
Yeah.
That's going to cost you money. And I think the other challenge we looked at even in the course of the week, misinformation.
Exactly.
Yes, and that has greatly affected the vaccine acceptance. Yes, because even before it has been made public, you have people saying they won't take it because there's this conspiracy theory out there that says they're trying to chip them, blah, blah, blah. Yes, even the clergy aren't helping. I think I chanced on a video of one of the renowned pastors in Nigeria, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
Condemning?
Actually,
telling it's
he put out all kinds of graphs talking about the conspiracy theories, how certain faceless human beings were trying to dominate the world and everything.
You think his congregants will take the vaccine? No. Anyway, thank you very much, Hafiz. I get back to you. Let me go to Epi. Yeah, distribution, accessibility, COVAX scheme.
So quickly with making reference to what Hafiz mentioned about most of these all the vaccines are actually temperature sensitive. So you have to make sure you're keeping them in a place that the temperature is right. And yes, having such facilities here in Africa is not something we actually looked at. But it's something that is actually being made possible
in some parts of Africa, because sometimes you'd find these in some countries,
Well, in setting environs of West and Central Africa,
right?
You're having UNICEF.
Okay.
Yeah, and what they are doing is they're actually establishing or installing solar-powered vaccine storage.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is to ensure that when the vaccine is actually brought in,
that could be
the
go-to, huh?
That will be the go-to, and there'll be a place where they're actually going to keep it. So it's like a solar power that powers a fridge for them to keep it. Yes. They've a place like Sierra Leone. Some of the installation has already begun.
Okay.
Over there, they call them fridges, and it's something that people are looking as being able to, it would go on and on for us,
right,
in different parts. Now, it's good that we have organizations or institutions, international bodies like this,
right,
that are looking at how to get the vaccine to West and Central Africa, to Africa as a whole.
True. Okay.
But, I mean, on the general side, Rwanda like this is actually putting together a plan on how they want to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine, since it's something that is mainly anticipated in Rwanda, for example.
They've actually issued out a 15-day lockdown. So, yeah, I believe it's something that is at top of the list, actually. Okay.
So, Rwanda has placed its order. Yes, and they're not just ready to receive, but then also they're looking at how to immediately begin the vaccination exercise.
Okay.
When the order actually, what they have placed actually comes in.
Okay.
So, the vaccination period is supposed to expect to span 2 years. A period of 2 years is when they look to do the vaccination, and they'll vaccinate about 60% of the total population. For that, the government needs $124 million US dollars. Yes,
124 million US dollars.
Exactly. Now, this is not something you can just pick up.
Nope.
You understand? One thing I'm just trying to say is we're seeing governments come together and make the effort to be able to acquire the vaccine for their citizens and their people. When it does come,
well, think about who would take or who would
the
who
distribution.
Take.
Yes, it's something where people were looking at, and I mean, in a way, I'm skeptical about it.
Anyway.
Already during the whole thing, you'll find out that PPEs are found in the offices of first ladies instead of being distributed to people. So you're just wondering what happens to the vaccine.
Like,
exactly.
Right?
The only key thing here is the vaccine cannot stay anywhere.
Okay.
It has to be in a place. The temperature has to be something that is regulated.
So first ladies, you're talking about the one that happened in one of the African countries?
Oh, yeah.
Ah, yeah. I
yes.
remember.
Also, South Africa is actually planning to get 9 million of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine shots.
Oh.
Yes, and this is from the ministry.
No, not Barry's Johnson & Johnson. I mean, when I saw the news, I was like,
I know I was saying that.
Why is it out? No, because I just had to bring it out. Like, look, this is, I mean, we talked about 4.something billion lawsuits and all. Why are we here?
Let's
not go there again.
To actually judge a whole. So, South Africa is looking to secure 9 million of the vaccine shots from them.
Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson & Johnson.
Great. Okay.
Actually, they're setting parts that they did a testing already. Some vaccination tests had already been conducted. In some parts of South Africa as well.
Okay. The show is Africa Daily on Africa Global Radio. Well, you can also share your voice with us. Tell us what you think about the distribution. Frontline workers first, and then the general public. And even within the general public, we're looking at a category of people with possibly maybe a condition or something. And then after that, there's another section. So it's not like everybody just come around and get vaccinated. No, that's not the plan. Yeah.
With South Africa's vaccine doses, they are not getting it from one place.
Right.
Yeah, as much as they're getting 9 million from J&J, they're also going to receive 12 million doses from the COVAX Global Vaccine Distribution Scheme.
Okay.
And then also 12 million from the African Union arrangement.
Okay.
And then they also receive 1.5 million from the Serum Institute of India, which is making the AstraZeneca shots.
Okay. AstraZeneca or Zeneca? Zeneca, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you for the update, Happy. Of course, South Africa is the epicenter. COVID-19 on the continent of Africa. They also have the highest number of people dying from the virus. Let me get on to my birthday, my J. want to say bye this time. I mean, COVID-19 has no friend, though.
I know.
Yep.
I
So
mean,
this, yeah.
Yeah, Hafiz laid out the plan. I don't know if it's according to the WHO.
Yeah.
WHO.
It's
That was
the
the
initiative.
WHO.
It's actually the
Yeah.
initiative. Yeah.
And then I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Because looking at them taking into consideration
Right.
hot doctors, first-hand
Frontline
responders,
workers and all.
frontline workers, because I mean, they are people who are directly linked
Directly.
to the virus. I mean,
yeah.
if somebody gets the virus and they're going to the hospital, it's a doctor that's going to see them
Oh, yeah.
first. People who work in the emergency unit, people who work in the ambulances and all of that. So I think
Take
that is good.
samples, bloods, and everything.
Yeah. And then coming back to the COVAX scheme.
Yep.
I mean, looking at looking at who's outline for how they're going to distribute the virus and the vaccine, then it means government should start looking into ways they can get the vaccine outside the COVAX scheme.
Okay.
Serious governments have done that.
South Africa,
Exactly.
for starters,
Yeah.
they didn't have to wait for
So,
you know
If your
COVAX scheme
government is waiting
to
on
roll
COVAX,
out.
then it tells you
And
something.
no government is waiting on
it's-
COVAX.
Yeah, actually, I mean, not
But,
to yeah.
but then that brings into mind what happened to all of the COVID-19 funds that were
Funds.
set up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a relief fund to help support businesses, but I ask myself, what would the business be like when the one who's supposed to be handling the business is sick, is ill, is actually protecting themselves? Because you need to be healthy to run a business.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's like day in, day out,
Yeah.
we see donations being made
Oh yeah, yeah.
to the COVID-19 fund.
That is.
So why are the quote unquote
Uh-huh.
unserious governments, what are they waiting for?
Well, that question is to
Because
the government
we-
in our base Ghana, I
Yeah,
believe.
because
and-
we've had talks about, I
Yeah.
mean, we can bring back the economy to life, but we cannot bring the people back to life.
that actually went viral.
I know!
Yeah.
But but when you talk about, she's asking very important.
Oh yes,
questions
yes,
here,
yes.
but, talking about what exactly happened. Well, that's
With
a
the
question for
funds.
God. Exactly.
Yeah.
But with everything that we've seen certain countries like the countries she's mentioned in there putting up solar panels and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, there's nothing basically happening, because you probably would want to hear some sort of adverts running.
Yeah.
There's some
Something to
education.
give you
Because-
hope that
Because
we
before,
are
before
handling
even we
things.
have vaccines, you
Yeah.
have people saying, "I don't take it. I'll take it. I won't
Yeah.
take it." Obviously, there's something out there.
wrong. Yeah.
Okay, because this is an era that's where you can
People
talk about
need
the
to
best
be-
practices when it comes to vaccines, and,
Yeah.
regulations and all that. But somehow you have a public that doubts, the efficacy. Something is wrong somewhere. So instead of just simply dismissing it and classifying it as conspiracy theories,
Yeah.
how about you go out there and start engaging them, trying to understand what exactly are the underlying issues, what exactly is stopping them from taking it. Then you can simply address some of these things. But to sit back and not do anything. Now we are waiting on the vaccines, and then we decide on the next step to take
When it gets here.
when it gets here.
Before we know
when you
what
can
to
actually
do.
put in structures
Yeah.
to psych the people up. Because I mean, taking a vaccine that if it's polio or any of those vaccines that have been around for some time,
Yeah.
I mean, people don't actually have trust issues. But with this,
It's
for those that are against it, the argument has been that okay, normally a vaccine would take 5 to 10 years to manufacture,
right.
but this is something that came out of the blue or just in a short while, so they can't trust it.
We're desperate to kick it out.
But then for those that argue for, the
Yeah.
answer to them is this: look, this is a time where science has advanced.
Has advanced. Exactly.
So in the manufacturing process,
We don't need to take that long.
stages that would have taken a month or a week
Yeah.
would be halved.
Mm-hmm.
So that probably answers
That
answers
question,
that.
yeah.
So some of these things need to be out there. They need to address some of these
Exactly. To
concerns.
make it clearer.
But-
You know?
And also, wouldn't you say some of the distrust people have in this vaccine is stemming from the reports they're getting about people reacting in different ways to the vaccines, being vaccinated?
It all still boils. Yeah.
Because
I
it
think-
all comes down to that as well.
Exactly.
Yes, and I think this this whole COVID-19 thing has shown us loopholes and gaps. Now, one thing I want to say is that if there were not centers set up for research into the study of viruses, people making every day there's a project they're working on.
Okay.
Not because there was necessarily a virus around or because there's something they're trying to deal, but there was that study into every aspect.
Yeah.
That is something that, I mean, in Africa, we can't 100% certify that we have.
Okay.
You have people who go to school, study, very serious courses.
Mm-hmm.
In these science, when it comes to the practicality of it,
okay,
they don't have that on the ground. You understand? Now, there's this question. I've seen it going through most news portals and listening to what people are saying in some of these media places. One key question people are asking is, how and why is Africa not coming up with a vaccine, on their own?
I think
is that dependency thing always going to exist? Are we always going to have a reason why we cannot do and why we are not able to do unless the advanced countries do it? I mean, that is a question that is lingering on a lot of people's minds.
Right.
Is that dependency going to stay?
Well, to all of our listeners and to all of our leaders out there, this one is to you, especially to those manning the affairs of our health sectors. I mean, from the African Union to the West African science conglomerate. What are we doing? Anyway, let me pick my final words. Final words from my colleagues. Mami, you want to jump in?
Yeah. Epi asked the question, is that dependency going to be there always?
Yeah.
I mean, we're always talking about actually, we talk about, in this country is independent, but we always find ourselves going
one way
back
or the
to
other.
the West.
Looking.
Yeah,
Guy,
going back to the
guy,
West
you fix
for
some
money, for
Yeah.
things.
I know, right?
And I'm hoping that question will be answered when the ASCFTA actually starts happening.
I think it's already started rolling.
Yeah. And then I feel like it shouldn't just focus on trade. It should focus on science as well.
Exchanging knowledge.
Right. Because if all of Africa is banding together and then we are putting up a research center,
right,
I don't think these are questions that will be
all
asked.
scientists from all 53 countries coming together
because we actually have brilliant minds
yeah.
on the continent. And most of these ones, let's say I go to the university and I go and study this very difficult science course.
Okay.
And then I come out of university and then there's nowhere to practice. There's nowhere to actually build upon what I learned.
Yeah.
I'll fly out because the opportunities are there. So I believe this is one of the issues that the AFCFTA should look at.
Yeah. Well, there are issues, definitely. I believe they'll start, having issues with, where are we going to locate that lab? Egypt. Nigeria. Hey, Ghana. No, Rwanda. Come on.
I don't think those ones will come
But
out.
that is, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah. But it's for the good of the entire continent, actually. Hafiz.
Mami is asking very important questions. I mean, she's asking what exactly is going on. Are we going to always be dependent? But you see, one thing this whole COVID situation has done is it has exposed our lack of preparedness. Yes, it has exposed our priorities. Yes. So governments that prioritize other things, yes, have been caught pants down.
Yeah.
Your inefficiency or your ineptitude has been exposed to the world. And I believe it's time we wake up. Because we can't... Look, what happens if these Western countries, it's not even enough for us. So, you guys handle your own issues. What then happens? What happens?
I think if that should happen, then we would set up.
We will.
Because I'm going to say you'll take them to court.
And the thing is,
no, you cannot take them.
But then that's where you see the
We're not
need to
doing
actually
that
come up with yours.
so you want to be held at gunpoint
you know
before
they're
you
going
pick.
to
Is that what it
every
is?
time they accept us with open arms. It's
So
like
you
the
know it's
prodigal
gonna
child.
trickle
They
down
go
as
and
well.
then
But
they come.
I can happily say we have brilliant minds,
Because look,
brilliant
all
scientists
these
on the
research
continent.
institutions we have, they are making do with the little they have. How much have we budgeted towards a research?
Exactly. I remember speaking to the head of
Noguchi.
He talked
Yes.
about the what do you call it? They lack resources to conduct the research. The Dr. Mateo from Angola, talked about they need to be funded with.
Look,
how can a scientist
look,
work
we
without
have
funds?
we have our priorities all over the place.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
currently, we have new ministers and everything.
And then
We are going to be talking about the
ex
PECs.
gratia.
Ex gratia, increasing it.
There are more important issues that should be addressed.
Oh dear.
We have a long way
Right.
to go. We have a long way to go.
Oh dear. Thank you very much, guys, for sharing. Wise words coming from you guys. We really appreciate them. Well, to our listeners as well, you can also share your thoughts with us. Possibly you may have missed the live version, but the podcast one, AGR On Demand, is right there for your listenership right after the show. I am Barry Musa, and this is the Africa Daily Show. We just ended the discussion zone, but we will be coming back with another one tomorrow. It's going to be an open space one tomorrow as we surf around the general public, a cross-section generally, to hear what they got to say about taking or not taking the vaccine. A lot of voices will be floating right here on the show.